This talk, created for Tisha B'Av, is entitled United We Stand. We used to have a Beit HaMikdash, we used to have a temple. The first temple stood from 1000 BCE to 586 BCE, but ultimately it got destroyed by the Babylonians. We then built a second temple. We had a second opportunity, a second Beit HaMikdash. This one was built in 350 BCE, but ultimately in 70 CE, this too got destroyed. This time, it got destroyed by the Romans who set fire to the temple. The question is, why? Why did the temples get destroyed? Let me explain my question. I understand if you look at history, you can understand, well, what do you mean? The Babylonians conquered and they destroyed the temple. What do you mean? The Romans came in and destroyed it. What's your question? How to do warfare? How did they fight? Just read the book of Josephus and you can see how they did it. No, that's not the question. The question is this, is that we say, Judaism says that anything physical can only happen if it has a spiritual counterpart. It can't just be that the Romans destroyed the temple unless there was something spiritual which allowed them to destroy the temple. The Babylonians couldn't have destroyed the temple unless there was something spiritual which allowed them to destroy the temple. Why? What's the real true reason why the temples got destroyed? What's the reason that you can only see in the Torah that you won't be able to find in a history book? And the answer is as follows. The Maharal in Netzach Yisrael explains that the reason why the first temple got destroyed and the second temple got destroyed are for two different reasons. In order to understand why the temple got destroyed, we have to understand, how did the temple stand? What was the spiritual connection or the spiritual pillars that allowed the temple to have its powers to be able to work? When it comes to temple number one, the first Beit HaMikdash, there were three pillars. The temple stood on three fundamental pillars. And it was these pillars that gave energy to the temple and made the temple what it was. And these three pillars were our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Each one of the forefathers had a special strength, a special power. And it was through the Jewish people connecting to those powers, that's what was the foundations of the temple. Avraham is known as an ish chesed. He was known for his kindness. Yitzchak is known for his gevurah, boundaries, making sure that you don't step out of line, making sure that you do what is right at the right time, not taking one step out of line. I will do what I need to do. And Yaakov is known as an ish emes, someone of truth, striving and caring about what is the true thing to do. These three fundamental powers is what kept the temple to be what it was. As long as the Jewish people connected to the power of kindness, to boundaries, keeping in line, and in truth doing the right thing, then that gave the strength to the temple, and the Beit HaMikdash, the temple, continued. But it says in Gemara Yuma, Mikdash Rishon Mipnei Ma Charav, why did the temple get destroyed? Again, it's not asking for a history lesson here. It's asking on a deeper level, what was the spiritual problem that caused the temple to be destroyed? And it answers, Mipnei Gimel Devarim, because of three issues which they were involved in. Number one, idol worship, immorality, and murder. Why these three? What was specific about these three? Terrible things. These are known as the three cardinal sins. But it seems to be more than that. The Maharal explains it's not just merely the Jewish people, oh, you're involved in those three things, oh, you're going to get it, I'm going to punish you. No. It's that those three things undermine the pillars which were the foundations of the Beit HaMikdash. Let me explain. We'll start off with idol worship. Idol worship is the total opposite of truth. Truth is that you have a connection with the source of all truth, with God. But now idol worship says, no, let's distort that and totally do what is not true. And therefore, they destroyed that pillar. Next, it comes to immorality. Immorality is where there's no boundaries. There's a lack of boundaries. Just let me do what I want to do. Don't tell me what to do. I'll do what I like. And therefore that destroys this concept of boundaries. When they decide to have immorality, they destroyed the second pillar. And lastly, when it comes to bloodshed, clearly, when the Jewish people are involved in bloodshed, then that will destroy the power of kindness. And therefore, the third pillar went away. When all three pillars went away, then what was left? There was nothing spiritually there as far as the temple is concerned. And it says in the Gemara, that our enemies were grinding flour already ground. They thought they were destroying it, but you know what? It was easy to destroy the physical temple once you had destroyed the foundation, the spiritual foundations as to what the temple was standing on. That was easy. Once the spiritual's gone, it was no problem. That was the first temple. So it wasn't a punishment as such. It's just the Jewish people, they removed from themselves the whole foundation, the spiritual foundation of the first temple. But what about the second temple? What was it about the second temple that got destroyed? So to be able to answer that, let's look at what was the foundations of the second temple. Unlike the first temple, the second temple did not have three foundations. The only way that the temple could last now, that they weren't connecting enough with the three forefathers, with kindness, with boundaries, and with truth. There had to be another way. This one was only going to stand on one pillar. And this one pillar was the power of Achdus. It was the power of unity joining together. There's only one Kohen Gadol. There's only one temple. There's only one place where we're all going to join together. That was the foundation. And let me explain that in a bit more detail. Every single person has different strengths. Every single person has different skills. Every single person has their unique goal in life. Volba points out that everyone's got a different fingerprint. You all got a different fingerprint. When you have a different fingerprint, why? Why would God go out of his way to give you a different fingerprint? He's got nothing better to do. This is a sign. It's a sign to show you that you have a unique mission that no one else does. Just like your fingerprint is unique, what you have to offer is unique. In fact, it even says further that every single individual Jew has a specific part of Torah that only they can reveal. No one else can reveal. Which means if you don't put your part towards the whole, then everyone loses out. There's something special about each individual. And therefore, we built the temple by putting all these pieces together. Everyone had what their mission was. And when we join it together, we had the unity of the temple. And that's how it got built. But what started to happen was that the Jewish people started saying, nah, I don't think we need that person. I don't think we need that person either. And we started then not seeing the value inside each other. And when we did that, then we destroyed the foundations. We started taking piece by piece. We started undoing the puzzle. And with that, we destroyed the second temple. And once again, when Titus, when he destroyed the temple, it was easy. Because already we had destroyed the root, we had destroyed the foundation by breaking it up. The only thing which brought us, the only foundation of the second temple was that we were joined together. But when we started arguing, we ripped apart the foundations, and all that was left was a simple building to be able to destroy. Why? What was the root cause of us separating and taking out the jigsaw pieces and not seeing the value of each other? And the answer is what's known as sinas chinam, which loosely translated is baseless hatred. Hatred for no good reason whatsoever. It was that which undermined the temple and made it ultimately get destroyed. But you might ask a question, you know what? Sinas chinam? That doesn't apply to me. I mean, I don't hate people. So what, like, I don't hate. There's no one who I hate. I might not get along with some people. I might not, be best friends with someone. Some people annoy me, but hate, sheesh. I mean, that's just not applicable nowadays. And anyway, why would anyone hate someone baseless? Hate someone for no reason at all? Is there really such a thing? Can you really do that? Well, if we look at this in more detail, we realize actually it might be a little bit more relevant than you think. It says in the Gemara, Sanhedrin, what is the definition of hating someone, or soine? Kol shelo dabar imo b'shlosha yamim ba'eva. Not speaking to someone for 3 days due to your enmity towards them. Hatred doesn't mean, I hate this person. It can be far less than that. I don't want to talk to this person. This person has upset me. I'm not getting along. They offended me. For 3 days you don't talk to them. That's what we're defining as hatred. Oh. So now maybe that is a little bit more relevant than I thought before. And what about this thing about, if I hate someone, according to this definition, certainly I've got a good reason. I mean, what, baseless? How does that work? Let me explain to you what baseless means as well. Imagine that you're having a meal with someone and it really annoys you when you see that they eat with their mouth full. And it's you ask the person, can you please stop eating with your mouth full? It looks disgusting. I mean, please, stop it. It's like, sorry. And the next thing you know, they're eating with their mouth full. Please, can you just stop eating with your mouth full? It's really getting on my nerves. Oh, sorry, sure. It happens the third time. That's it. You already warned them. You warned them once. You warned them twice. You're quite reasonable. Okay, put a bullet to their brains and shoot them. Now, is that baseless? Of course it's not baseless. Baseless? What do you mean baseless? He was annoying me. I warned him. I told him once. I told him twice. So I shot him afterwards. That's not baseless. Yes, it is baseless. What? You shot him, but I got a good reason. Baseless doesn't mean you don't have a reason. Baseless means is that the extent and the consequence is so out of proportion for what they did. Someone does something which annoy you, so now I'm not talking to them. That is called sinas chinam. That is called baseless hatred. So when we look at two things, I don't hate people. Really? Is there anybody you're not talking to at the moment? And why would I hate someone for no reason? It doesn't mean hate someone for no reason. It means is that you're treating them in a disproportionate way. They said something you didn't like. You have no idea why they didn't say that. Well, they said that thing, they didn't say something, they said something. You don't know what's going through people's minds. And for that we say actually that you now is called hating someone for no good reason, meaning it's totally disproportionate to the hatred that you have inside of yourself. Rabbi Cheskel of Komer said famously, the temple was destroyed because of sinas chinam, baseless hatred. So how are we going to rebuild it? The only way that we're going to be able to rebuild it is with ahavas chinam, with baseless love. If we think about it, how much anti-Semitism there has been, you'll see just scrolling here, just from 740 BCE till 1999. It goes on quite a while. This is found on Wikipedia. Just how much anti-Semitism and pogroms there have been is shocking. All this is a result of us not having the temple, of not having Achdus, not being together. The analogy brought in Mesilas Yesharim about how pointless this is, the hatred we have towards other people, is that if you were to have a right hand and the right hand was hitting a nail with a hammer, but by mistake misses the nail and smashes the thumb, does it make any logical sense for the left hand to take revenge against the right hand? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. What are you doing? Who are you harming? You're harming yourself. If we truly realize that we as a Jewish people are one, the way to rebuild the temple is if each one of us sees that, I'm just one piece of the jigsaw. They're a piece of the jigsaw. I need them. They need me. We need to join together. Then with that, we'll have the power to rebuild the temple. Be great. Be a giver. See the values inside other people and the need to be able to unite. And please God, it should be the last year that we don't have a temple. All the best.